We're talking about the federal appointments, and the Southeast, the Southeast, a lot of people have been complaining about, a lot of complaints have come from Nigeria's Southeast. Tell us what your party think about complaints coming from the Southeast.
I think the party welcome every complaint and every criticism, and is looking into them if they're genuine. But I don't think there's anything wrong with the appointments the president has made so far. Look at the security chiefs. There's Chief of Defense Staff, the 3 service chiefs, the Naval Staff, Air Staff, and the Army Staff. And then there's the IGP of Police. These are usually the service chiefs. Look at them. If you're looking about North-South, the Chief of Defense Staff is from the South. The Chief of Naval Staff is from the South. The Chief of Army Staff is from the North. The Chief of Air Staff is from the North. The IGP of Police is from the South. The DG of SSS is from the North. So it's shared. The president sought for 15 advisors. He has appointed only 2. Special advisor on media, and special national security advisor. One is from the South, one is from the North. The Chief of Staff is from the North. The Deputy Chief of Staff is from the South. So what are people talking about? The Southeast, it's impossible for anyone to ignore any region in this country, politically, and it's not even wise, so it's not going to happen. So I don't see where the problem is. It's going to pick up, but there are a lot of appointments to come through. One day they'll pick up. So the administration is not loop-sided. Appointments so far have not been loop-sided or anything that people just assume they are. These are sensational headlines that have been made by elite media.
Is the party
not worried?
Is the party concerned about comments made in several parts of the country about appointments that have been made without recourse to the position of the law? Many talk about different ones. They look at AMCON, they look at INEC, they look at quite a number of these issues. What's the party thinking about those kind of comments in the first instance?
Look, there's nothing we have done that is contrary to the law so far. Because if there is, somebody would have taken us to court, and then we'll wait for the court pronouncement. There's nothing that has been done that is contrary to the law. Absolutely nothing. Even the appointments of INEC or AMCON, those are not appointments that are contrary to the law. You can argue all you want, but they are not contrary to the law. But you can, if you feel they are, then you can have recourse to the court of law, and we are an administration of rule of law, so would adhere to it.
So the marker is, if we're wrong, if we violated the law, somebody should have gone to court. If they don't go to court, it means we're right. Is that the perception, impression?
Yeah, not wrong. What I'm telling you is that Nigerians are not just going to wait and see any president who violate the law without taking him to court. Any president. Not President Buhari, not any president. So we didn't violate the law. And if we have violated the law, tell me which law was violated.
For instance, they ask, there are 2 elections coming up, Kogi and Bayelsa. And there's several comments, articles, front-page headlines about how many people are taking the decisions in INEC. It's supposed to be a board, but as we speak, we're not sure if they're up to 3 taking those decisions, or some say it's even 1. And there hasn't been any comment whatsoever from the presidency, if there is, I might have missed it, about what is happening to that position, those positions, before those elections hold.
Yeah, but the elections have not held yet. So there's no law that has been violated yet.
We'll have to wait until they're held. They have to take decisions before the elections are held.
You talked about a violation of law in terms of appointments. I told you there was no violation. Now you're talking about violation of law in terms of the constitution of the board of INEC as regards an election that has not taken place yet. So
before the elections take place, isn't the board supposed to meet and fashion out how the elections will go ahead and hold?
I don't really know how it works, but no laws have been violated yet, and I think no election has taken place yet. So until
the party says everything is okay.
Violated the law, Chamberlain. And the necessary things and the right things would be done. The necessary and the right things would be done according to law. But there is no election yet, and then so there's no laws that have been violated yet. So let's not talk about violation of any law. If you're assuming now, or if you're afraid that the law would be violated, it's good to bring it. Look, we accept criticism or observations or something like that. We accept that. We never shy away from them. We're not going to be an administration of giving excuses every tick and turn. No, we're not going to do that. But no election has held yet. No laws have been violated yet. And
so let us, Ismael, let us say that these laws are in the realm, or beg your pardon, these criticisms are in the realm of observations. What does your party have to say about the observations that have been made? Because they're quite serious.
They will look into it and take the appropriate actions.
At what time? It would seem that they have the leisure of time on their hands.
No, at the appropriate time, before it becomes anything faulty. That I can assure you of.
Because there are concerns that if these elections are going to be coming up before the end of this year, and they're going to be credible elections indeed, and that the decisions that need to be taken by a complete set of people. What would you say, or what will you say to the fact that some people say, well, we're just biding our time. If, you know, these things do not change as at when they should change, we'll wait for the elections to be held, and then we'll go to court just to nullify them. Haven't you heard of, you know, decisions like that, or people making such threats?
People say that, but that is not our focus right now. Our focus is on getting things right. So, electoral body is a very important body. So the most important thing is getting a lot of some of these board members that are competent enough to carry out a very credible process, and that's the most important thing. And then it's going to be done at the right time before it becomes messy. That I can assure you of. And any observations that anyone has, either if he has access to the media to say it out, or if he can say it personally to any person who is in a position of authority, would be taken seriously and to be carried to the necessary quarters, and then appropriate action will be taken. And like I keep saying, we're not going to shy away from observations or criticisms. Once they come in, we'll take them in, and what is right, we'll do the right things. And what is just irrelevant, we'll leave it as irrelevant. But for now, we believe we're absolutely on track. No laws have been violated, and none will be.
So what would you say then about the case of the AMCON boss? Because they say he's supposed to go through the Senate. They also believe that the tenure of the former AMCON boss was yet to expire, and he was relieved of his duties before the expiration of his tenure. And that, you know, you can't just appoint a new AMCON chief without consultations with the finance minister, according to the AMCON Act. What do you say to some of those criticisms, which they believe hasn't exactly followed the law?
I believe that the service chiefs, for example, are supposed to go through the Senate too, right? But they were appointed before they were cleared by the Senate. So appointment before clearance by the Senate is a normal procedure in the political appointments in the federal government in this country. So that is not an abnormality at all. So I don't see anything. I don't see what is wrong with that. On the issue of the AMCON, the last AMCON DG, I don't know. I haven't read the law on AMCON. I don't know about the expiration of tenure. I don't know if he's tenured. I don't know if the president has the power to fire him. I don't know. I haven't read that, so I'm not going to sit down here and claim that I have read that. But I have absolute faith that the president wouldn't do anything that would go contrary to the law. But I haven't read that. But if you have read that and you believe genuinely that the law has been violated in firing the former chief of the AMCON, bring it to our attention, and I'm sure it will be looked upon.
Well, it's interesting that you're throwing it in the realm of journalists to bring it to your attention, because quite a number of them have already. It's a surprise that you haven't seen it. I
haven't seen it anywhere, actually.
Well, that's sad, because it's been on the back page of some columns, making national newspapers at that. But, you know, let us leave that now and talk about the economy, which is one area where criticism has been strongest. Quite a number of people believe that aside the fight on corruption, there's been very little to record in the area of development of the economy. They believe that the economy has been left to flounder, and without providing a course of direction for where they believe the economy should be going. What would you say to this?
You know, prior to the election, if you ask 90% of Nigerians, what is the problem with Nigeria's economy, they will tell you it's corruption. Now that the corruption is being tackled, they say, other than corruption, nothing else is being done. So if Nigerians truly believe that 90% of Nigeria's economic problem is waste, leakages, and absolute and wanton corruption, And then corruption is being tackled head on by this administration, and now they're complaining about other things. It tells you that, it goes back to the issue of dissatisfaction with people. So you see that the point is very clear. I think there's an economic direction that the president is, and that direction is simple. No wastages, no leakages. There's going to be an efficient economy. There's going to be a merger of a lot of ministries and parastatals to see that we have a very lean and an efficient government. But most importantly, there's going to be public confidence and investor confidence in whatever it's happening. Half the time, if I travel out of this country, or if I speak to anyone who has come to either invest or wants to invest in this country, the first thing he tells you is that there are problems with bottlenecks and red tapes and absolute corruption everywhere. It makes it messy or almost impossible for anyone to start up a business or do a good business or going concern. That's always the issue with a lot of people. Now that that is being tackled head on in so many respects, not only on the issue of anti-corruption, of zero tolerance for corruption, but also on the issue of fiscal discipline and pragmatism in approaching most of these things. People want to look at other things. So I think the policy will be rolled out really soon. The clear policy will be rolled out really soon. But certain things have to be done first to make sure that things are a bit stable. You can't say absolutely stable, but a bit stable. I think that's what the president is doing. And once the cabinet are in place, terms of reference and the strict directives are being given to them, I think that will be absolutely clear. So, but if people are criticizing or having concerns and making observations, that is okay too. They have the right to do that. They voted for a government, then they have the right to criticize that government. We're not going to shy away from that.